Is the Capital One Venture X actually worth the hype? Because this is such a popular credit card. Almost everybody that I talk to inside of the credit card community has a really strong opinion on whether this card meets the expectations when you're using it compared to what it's built up to be. Having firsthand experience with myself, this has been my everyday credit card for all other purchases and some travel here in 2024. I've seen the Venture X in action firsthand. In this video, I'll share my honest experiences, where the card in my life met or exceeded expectations, and also where it fell short. I want to set the table with some background. I got the Venture X at the very beginning of 2024, and since then have put some considerable spend on it, and I use it as part of a 4 credit card setup that I rotate through consistently. This card in my own personal setup fills the role of my everyday catch-all card, but I also use it as my premium travel credit card at the moment for lounge access and other travel benefits. So I've certainly seen it on both sides of what it's marketed to be able to do. Taking in these experiences, I found 5 things that I want to share that I really thought are incredible about this card, and also 3 things that really concern me as a cardholder that also make me wish I'd went a different direction. Let's start with my 5 favorite things, beginning with number 1, which is the earnings multipliers on this card. The earnings multipliers are actually the single best thing that sets the Venture X apart from its peers. The VX earns 10x on hotels and rental cards when booked through Capital One, 5x on flights when booked through Capital One Travel as well, and 2x on everything else. Now that 2x is very, very important. I've booked in every single category between flights, rental cars, hotels, but the 2x is what the Venture X does as a premium travel credit card that other premium travel credit cards that you may consider getting over the Venture X just do not do themselves. From using this card almost daily in the past 6 months, I've realized that the 2x multiplier on a premium travel card is just an incredible way to kind of passively stack up miles that you can then convert to travel rewards in the background without having to think about it or shuffle for different cards in your wallet to optimize certain spend. At the time I'm recording this video, I've earned 30,587 miles just through normal spend on this card. That has a value when redeemed through the portal of just over $300. However, it also doesn't count the 75,000 mile sign-up bonus offer that I also redeemed after hitting that minimum spend upon being approved for the card. This is the same offer that's still available for the Venture X, and if you want to support the channel, the referral link is down below in the description. I think of many other travel cards like the American Express Platinum card or the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve cards on that side that just, if I'd taken either one of those credit cards and swapped them out for my Venture X, I'd be way further behind in terms of the rewards points or miles that I would have earned through the same sort of spending. The second biggest perk that I've loved since I've had this card are the Capital One lounges. In my opinion, Capital One lounges are generally in the ballpark of the best credit card lounges that you'd have access to at airports. Getting to experience one of these locations as part of your normal travel plans, either in Washington, D.C., Dallas, or the Denver International Airport will truly transform and elevate the trip that you're on. They're all fairly newly built, with I believe the next one coming out in Las Vegas sometime in the next year, with modern amenities, showers, free food, drink, customized local menus depending on what city that you're in, and even a grab and go area that's super convenient if your layover's a very short stop. The fact that you can access these lounges for free with everything inside being complimentary on a card that has an effective annual fee of positive $5 almost seems too good to be true. In my opinion, I value this lounge access at $30 to $50 every single time I get to visit. Now, would I spend that much money if I was outside the lounge and didn't have access? Probably not, but I see that as the value of the experience and also the free food and the drinks that I'm getting inside. If you're traveling, anytime you get a chance to go by one of these lounges, please do. It'll be well worth your visit, and you'll be happy that the Capital One Venture X has that benefit included for free. The third perk that I've really enjoyed is the Hertz President's Circle status that comes ingrained inside the Venture X. The President's Circle membership is the top tier of rental status through Hertz. Normally, it would take upwards of, I believe, 15 rentals through Hertz to get this status, but since you have it on the Venture X, it comes connected once you link your accounts. The best parts of this are the seamless ability to skip the counter, walk right into your car and drive it off the lot, and also the one class upgraded rental you get. Two other benefits that you should use every single time is declining Hertz's collision damage insurance, because that comes as a benefit on your Venture X, and also the free additional driver that comes to the President's Circle status. That'll save you about $15 a day on the driver, and it'll save you much more declining the rental insurance because you already have it on your card. However, a huge red flag that I want to point out is President's Circle status through the Venture X ends in 2025. This continues the trend of rollbacks that Capital One has continued to do on the Venture X since it's launched, and I'll tell you at the end how I feel about the value and about these rollbacks potentially continuing into the future. Feature number 4 that I've really loved using is the Capital One Travel Portal Price Protection and Price Watch. What Capital One Price Prediction does in the most basic form is it offers you a scale between wait and book now. And there's, I believe, 4 different levels to the scale. Price Prediction monitors flight trends over specific routes of flights that you're potentially looking to book. If it sees, based on all of its inputs and prediction data, that the flight may be at a better price closer to your booking date, it'll recommend that you wait on that flight and offer an estimate of how much you could potentially save. Here's how I've used this since getting the Venture X. I have to book a few trips, maybe 5 to 6 per year for work. This has been an awesome feature for me because I'm not required to book them at a specific time. Just any time I can go on and get the best price for my trip, I try to do and help the company out a little bit. All I do at the beginning of the year is check out the price prediction for the various destinations that I have to go, look to see what the booking range is between whether it's a great price to get on right now, or usually it'll indicate that I wait for a more premium time to actually buy that ticket. If the price predictor says wait for a more premium time, I'll click Price Watch and Capital One will automatically track this flight for me. If Capital One tracks this flight to a better time to book, it'll ping me with a notification on my phone, and really in just a few taps through the Capital One app, I can lock in and purchase this flight. The best parts about this are I can book it on my Venture X, earn 5x miles for that purchase, and then get reimbursed on the back end by my company, while of course still keeping the miles for my own travel use. Not only am I getting miles out of this, but I'm also getting a good price for my company. I use the same feature on my personal trips as well. And the kicker is, if Capital One recommends that you book now, and then the price drops over the next few days, they'll issue you a travel credit for the difference between when you booked and when the lowest price that they actually tracked on that flight was. I've gotten $20 in travel credits this year, and I'm planning on using that towards my next personal trip. The last feature that's exceeded my expectations has been the $300 travel credit that comes every single year on the card. This is one of the core pillars of value that the Venture X markets as making this card worth it for a $395 annual fee. It's often said by pretty much everybody, if you just take one trip a year with the Venture X, the card is going to pay for itself, and with the 10,000 bonus miles you get on every single card member anniversary, you're getting a plus $5 effective annual fee just for holding the card. And from my experience, this has been incredibly easy and very true. It's easy to forget how usable Capital One has really made this travel credit. With the exception of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which has a higher annual fee to start with, but a $300 travel credit that would be credited towards you on the first purchase of any travel merchant, including travel merchants outside of the Chase Travel Portal. This is the second best travel credit in the game. The only restriction on the Capital One $300 travel credit is you just have to book through Capital One Travel. Even better, they allow you to pick and choose if you'd like to use the Capital One travel credit when you book, or if you'd only like to use a portion of the travel credit. Finally, so many other banks and credit cards make it difficult to find out whether you've used your entire credit or benefit for the year, but the Capital One travel benefit is so easy to locate and you're able to keep updated with how much value you have left on your credit so you can spend it all by the end of the year. In today's world, it's easy to almost become normalized to the fact that credits are difficult to use, and that feels like it's part of the game. But the Capital One travel credit is still fortunately very simple and very easy to use, and for that reason, it makes the top 5 of things I've appreciated since holding this card. Okay, unfortunately, on the flip side, there are 3 areas that I have to talk about that I just haven't enjoyed as much as I thought I would before actually getting accepted for the Venture X. And the first is finding great redemptions for the value of my miles. Now, trying to get above average redemptions with the Venture X has been quite difficult for me personally. I'm someone who primarily travels inside the United States for flights and hotels. Now, maybe a few international trips in the future, but those haven't really come into play quite yet. Of course, Capital One has the Capital One travel portal where every mile you redeem is valued at 1 cent. So a $300 flight would cost 30,000 miles. When the worst earnings category on the card is 2x on everything else, this means when you redeem through the portal, you're getting at least 2% back on your spend, which isn't terrible, but it isn't incredible either. In the credit card game, it's almost always ideal to transfer your points or miles out to transfer partners to get surplus value from those points or miles. With Capital One, it's proven to be pretty difficult for someone with my travel style to actually commit to transfers that allow me to get that positive value. Capital One has Choice Privileges and Wyndham Rewards as their 2 hotel loyalty partners, and if you know those hotel chains a lot, it's hard to get positive value from their points. Secondly, this is a big factor, but Capital One doesn't have a single domestic airline transfer partner. Now, I know you can use airline alliances to book through an alliance to find award availability for domestic flights in the United States. But the fact of the matter is, depending on the routes you're flying or just sometimes the functionality and using different websites to commit to those bookings, there can be some real hurdles in making that happen very effectively. The second area that I've been a little bit disappointed in has actually been the cell phone protection benefit. Recently, the Lightning adapter on my phone here at the bottom for charging and different aux stuff, that went out completely. And at first I was like, absolutely no problem. I've been intentionally paying my cell phone bill every single month with the Venture X to make sure that things like this, when there are problems, are able to be solved almost instantly and for only the deductible that comes off with the benefit. The Venture X markets cell phone protection by saying cell phone protection can help cover the cost of repairing or replacing a phone if it's damaged or stolen. On the surface, this applies exactly to the Lightning adapter being broken and being able to submit this for a claim to get this repaired with little cost back to me. However, this benefit in some cases seems too good to be true. As I dove into the terms and conditions of cell phone protection, I actually found that it says electronic issues such as the inability to charge, mechanical or battery failure where there's no evidence of physical damage are not covered under this program. I called Capital One myself to confirm this, spoke with their rep, and they said that yes, some of those mechanical failures or anything to do with water damage, which they suspected was the problem with the Lightning adapter port, is on the original phone warranty plan and something that Capital One does not cover through the Venture X. I'm estimating this not being covered under the cell phone protection benefit cost me about $115 more than it would have if the benefit did include just all general damage protections. Number 3 on my list is what I'm going to call lounge envy. Lounge envy is kind of a weird one to explain because my second best benefit was talking about how great the Capital One lounges are across 3 cities, DC, Dallas, and Denver. Now, those 3 cities are the only 3 cities that you can actually access Capital One branded lounges. There are about 50 Priority Pass lounges scattered throughout the United States and over 1,000 Plaza Premium lounges, which are basically international based, scattered across the world. With the Venture X, you get access to all 3 of those brands. However, when you're actually traveling and flying through the United States, you realize how few and far between sometimes these lounges that you can get into are, and if you're getting into a Priority Pass lounge, how hit and miss the quality of those lounges are once you're inside. I recently visited the club inside of Atlanta, which I think was the only Priority Pass lounge in the Atlanta airport, which is kind of crazy because it is such a big airport. I believe the biggest in the United States by passenger volume. Regardless, I got there in the morning about 7 a.m. so I was excited to eat some breakfast, sit down, have a coffee, and wait for my next flight back to Kansas City. However, the breakfast was really rough. I didn't get any videos of the breakfast buffet, but they had some biscuits and gravy, and the biscuits were almost inedible, some eggs and sausage, which I didn't even want to touch or look at. And really the only edible thing was a fruit bowl that you could pair with some yogurt out of yogurt cups. On the positive side, they did have an espresso machine and randomly a massive jar of jelly beans sitting in the little display in the center of the lounge, so I ate jelly beans and coffee during my layover. This is not quite the $30 to $50 in value that you typically expect to see from a Capital One branded lounge, but it goes to show how hit and miss a Priority Pass lounge can be. When your lounge access revolves around Priority Pass access, like the card that you get issued here, you're gonna start to see all of these beautiful lounges in different airports that you travel to that you simply don't have access to because they're not included in the VentureX package. So all that is to say, between the strengths and the weaknesses of the card, I still consider it one of the favorite cards in my wallet, and I certainly have no plans on canceling this as I approach my annual fee renewal coming up. That being said, I'm always going to monitor whether Capital One is rolling back more benefits and how that changes my use of the card and its place in my wallet as it relates to earning categories and getting the most bang for my buck for what I want to be redeeming on in the back end. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.